define your outcomes. We will talk about outcomes. What are the outcomes? How to define them positively? What steps you should take? We'll go into details of them. Do we really need to properly define the goals at all? Today, I think, okay, you have seen small kids, right, playing. Today, you ask them, what do you want to be? They'll say, I want to be like daddy. I want to be like mommy. Tomorrow, there will be some other hero. Today, they want to be railway engine drivers, motormans. Tomorrow, they want to be station master. One more day, they will want to be auto rickshaw driver. So, whatever catches their fancy, they want to be. But we are not children now. All of us are adults, grown up. So why do we need to properly define the outcome? Unless you know where do you want to go, can you board a proper train or proper bus or proper vehicle? If I know that I've started from Mumbai and I want to go to Pune, I know I want to go to Pune, I will board Pune train, right? So that is the same thing about outcomes. If I know where I want to go, my journey can begin. Can we ever begin the journey before we know our destination? That is the question I'm asking you. Obviously, the answer is no. So first thing is, yes, we have to define the outcomes carefully so that we are motivated to follow them rigorously. We will define we will see how to define what care we need to take to define the outcomes. Okay, here we go. Okay, do we really need to define outcomes? I'm on the same point still. What happens is, most of the time, I have seen many of my students, many of my colleagues, my friends, my relations, including sometimes myself, do not take the charge of our lives. We're not in control many times. And then what we feel is, oh, if my father was a wealthy man, if he had kept a good amount of money for me, maybe I could have used that money to better educate myself and do some fancy things. Or maybe if I had some money, I could have used that as a capital and then grow into a big company. When I say that, I'm underestimating myself. We do not know the power of our minds, and that is why we do it. I don't know what I can achieve. And that is the reason I try to find out excuses. Oh, I'm in this country where people are not educated. Otherwise, I could have done something. Oh, I'm in a village place. I don't get facilities like a city. I'm in school. How can I study? How can I prepare? I don't get good coaching classes. I have to seriously, if I'm saying that, I have to seriously think, what is wrong? I'm not taking charge of the situation. That is what is wrong. So to take the charge of situation, if you define the goals properly and follow them up properly, you will automatically take the charge of situation and achieve. Okay, so let's go ahead. What do outcomes actually mean? I'm talking about outcomes. We are discussing outcomes. What do they really mean to us in our lives? Outcomes give us direction. In what direction I want to take efforts? In what direction I want to go? If I want to be a great musician, what should be my focus? Learning maths or learning music? I want to be a musician. My direction will be learning music, right? So whatever outcomes I define, they will give direction to my life. One more thing I have to remember always. Outcomes are not ultimate achievements. Outcomes are important. You have to achieve them, but they are not ultimate. Once you achieve an outcome, there is something further. You feel like you want to achieve further. Outcomes are dynamic actually. Why? Let us say that Okay, I'll talk about a school child. I'm a school child. I have miserably failed in my maths examination, in my semester examination, which just I got the results just 2 days back. I miserably failed in my maths paper. We have one more examination coming up in 2 months. What should be my goal? Will it be a good idea to have a goal that in the examination, upcoming examination, after 2 months, I will score 100%? It's difficult. Usually the goal will be whatever happens in these 2 months, I'll prepare and I'll pass. That happens in 2 months' time, I pass. Then for the next examination, should I have the same goal? I obviously won't. I will have a goal of getting a second class or first class, depending on how confident I am and what are the other things. So once you achieve your goal, you see further and you want to achieve more. That is why any particular goal is not the ultimate achievement. You can think of outcomes as milestones. Once you achieve, you go to next milestone. Achieving an outcome is arriving at an important stop in your life's journey. So, yes, outcomes are important, but that is not the final aim of life. Okay. But then without them, you cannot achieve your final aim also. They are your milestones, and yes, you have to keep a track of your milestones if at all you want to progress. An outcome is something you desire. In this statement, you is important. Outcome for me is something that I desire. It is not somebody else's desire. My father says that my son should achieve something. He should be a person who owns a company. That is why, no, that is not your outcome. My partner says you should earn certain income every month, 25 lakhs per month. That is my partner's, not my goal. That's not my desire. So think about what you really want. This is very tricky. Very easy to say. Outcome should be what you desire. Our outcomes are many times influenced by others. What our father says, what our mother says, what our siblings say, what friends say, what society says, what the TV ads say. So, social media. So, influence of outside elements is something you should be able to recognize. Okay, I'm not saying that you don't go or that influence should be totally ignored. Even if that influence is there, is it really what you want to achieve is something I want you to constantly test. It should be your desire is what I want you to remember. When I'm saying your desire, always check if you are under someone else's influence when you are defining that goal. No, you will not work for someone else's goal as good as if it was your. Again, the second thing about goal is whatever you decide should be achievable. Now that is confusing. On one hand, Vajant is saying everything that you want, you can do. And on the other hand, she's saying it should be achievable. It should be physically possible. Okay, if I decide a goal that from today, I'm 64 today, from today, if I decide that I want to teach NLP for a full class for 50 years, can you imagine a lady who's 104 years old is teaching NLP to a class? Is it physically possible? Do you think? No. So when I'm talking about goals being achievable, the goals really should be physically achievable. If I think about, I do not want that second world war. Can I do something about it? Second world war happened in the 40s, 1940s, that too. We are at 2020. I cannot go back in the history and erase a period. So that is not achievable. So when I say you define your goals, check achievability of those goals. If I go to the US, let us say, and I want to be the president of the US, is it physically possible? No. The law says that I have to be a US citizen by birth to become US president, and I'm not that. So achievable is physically possible is something you have to check. Within your power, don't worry. Everything is within your power. You have all the resources that you need. Measurable. Measurable outcomes, I think all of us know. And appropriate to the situation. Appropriate outcomes for you is what you have to define. Okay. So these are the 4 bullets. These are the 4 things that you have to remember for outcomes. When you define an outcome, it should be your goal. It should be achievable. It should be correct, appropriate, and it should be measurable.